Hey everybody, this is Games Plus James and welcome back to our Unity 2D tutorial, part 7, where we're going to take a look at adding enemies to the game, or at least a very simple enemy. What we're going to add is a guy who walks back and forward across a certain little bit of area and he'll kill the player whenever he comes in contact with him. He's relatively simple, but he should be a fun little addition to the game. But before we're going to do that, we're going to just add a little bit of tidying up to make the game feel a little bit more solid. Before we do that, we're going to create a new object here in the hierarchy just to tidy up these coins because they're taking up so much space because they're all the same. So we're just going to do that and pop them in there so they're out of the way. That's perfect. Now, when we hit play on the game here, the problem we've got at the moment is if you're playing your game or whatever and you run over the edge, you just fall forever, and that's no use to anybody. Because what kind of fun game is a game where you fall over the edge and then you can't play anymore ever again? So what we're going to do is just very simply, we're going to create a new object here. We'll call this level border, say. So level border, we're going to add a rigid body 2D. No, not rigid body, that's the wrong thing, sorry. We're going to add a box collider 2D, make it a trigger. And then we're going to add the kill player script. So what we're going to do is drag this down below the level. We're going to get the X scale value on the transform and just drag it out so it's really big, so it covers a whole load of area. It's a little bit bigger than that actually. So if we zoom out, see, it just, there's no chance of the player like jumping over the edge or anything like that. And if we hit play here, what we should find is the player getting killed. Just run over here and bam, the player gets killed. But unfortunately, though we can't see the player when he's killed, he's still fallen because he's still got a gravity effect applied to him. So we're going to fix that very simply. We'll go back to our level manager script, which is what handles when our player gets killed. So we'll open that up here. And what we're going to do is, we're going to just, when the player is killed, we're just going to set the gravity to 0. It's very simple. So we go player dot gravity, oh, hold on, player dot rigid body 2D. You have to do that first because the gravity value is stored in the rigid body. So, and then gravity scale is equal to 0f. So that'll set the gravity to 0 when he's killed and he won't fall. So then we have our time, it waits for it to respawn, and then we want to set the gravity back to active again. And if we go back into Unity and we go to our player, we can see on the rigid body we changed that to 5. Well, that's what I changed it to my one. You might have changed it to something different depending on how you feel or how you felt the controls worked. So whatever that value is there, we could create a variable and grab that from the player and store it before he's killed, but that would be how you would handle it if you were making a full game properly. But it's much simpler just for our purposes just to go rigid body 2D that gravity scale is equal to 5. Actually, you know what? No, we'll do the proper way to do it just to make sure it works fine. So we'll just create a private float. We'll just call this gravity store. So all we'll do here is go gravity store is equal to this little bit here, the player.rigidbody 2D.gravity scale. So that'll store it there. We'll set it to 0, and then when we want it to come back again, we'll go rigidbody 2D.gravity scale is equal to gravity store. So that'll restart it and it'll all be working perfectly fine. So we'll hit play here. Once it finishes compiling down here in the corner, we'll walk over the edge and then bam, see, now we freeze in place. Perfect. Now, one little thing that, because of the way that Unity handles particle effects, we're not noticing it here now, but if you leave the screen before a particle is finished, what it'll do is reset that particle. I don't really know why it does it. It's kind of a strange way to handle it, but for example, if we go to our level manager here and we set the respawn delay to 0.5 and we hit play, so now we'll be respawning back up here before the particle has time to finish. So we go boop, and now we fall again. Okay, it's not showing up here now. Where is our particle effects? We'll just check this. Particle, depth particle. So that lasts for 1 second. So yeah, that does do that. Okay, it may be that we're just not, the camera is too close to the object. So what we'll do is we'll grab our level border, we'll just pull it down. Because this is a problem, it's not too much of a problem, but we don't want it to be happening. So we'll walk over the edge here, kill ourselves, and we go back up to the top, fall again. Or maybe it's because it's on the screen here actually. Because I want to show this to you. Goes down, you die. I can't get it to activate now, but it's something that has happened to me many times, and it's a very simple fix is what I was trying to get to fix it. All you have to do is you open our destroy finish particle script, and it's a problem that may come up in your own game especially, and it's very simple. So what we do is we go void and then on became invisible, and inside the little curly brackets here all we do is write destroy game object, and like that. So basically what this little bit of code does is as soon as the particle effect goes off the screen, it just completely destroys it, so then you don't have to worry about it anymore. And it's a simple little fix to a problem that it can look bad, because if for example those particles aren't finishing and a player keeps falling down the exact same place the whole time, you'll end up with like 5 or 6 particle effects appearing over each other, and that just looks messy and it looks not good. So there we go, that's the basics of that. That should be all good and working fine. So now we're going to add an enemy into the mix. So what we're going to do, we're going to put him after this little section here. So we'll grab a few of these blocks. That should be plenty. We'll duplicate them, drag them over here, pop them there we go. And then first thing we need to do is go and just minimize that out of the way. We go into our art folder, go to our platformer image here, and we're going to create the enemy guy. So we'll drag a box, same as we've done with the player and all the other objects around. Going to grab that, grab him. Okay, so we're going to call this guy, we'll just call him enemy 1. Nope, not exclamation mark, enemy 1. This guy will be enemy 2. And this guy will be enemy 3. So this will just be to create a basic little walk animation for him, because all he's going to be doing is walking the whole time. Okay, so now we will drag enemy 1 onto the screen here, and to make him a real object we need to give him a rigid body 2D, set that to fixed angle so that he won't rotate by accident or anything like that. We're going to give him a circle collider 2D, much the same as the player has, so that he can move around, and we'll adjust the settings here on this one. So we'll set the radius to 0.35 and the Y value to minus 0.025. These were just values that I came up with that look good. You can see it kind of touching the bottom of his thing there. So now he'll be able to connect with the ground and he'll be able to move okay. But we want him to be able to kill the player. That's important. So what we want to do is we'll add a box collider 2D this time. We'll make that a trigger. So now that's the size. So this whole area outside the circle, basically, if the player touches any of that, he should get killed. So the way the player will get killed, of course, is we'll add our kill player script once again. Yeah, and we'll hit play just to check this out. And we actually should have moved the player over there to save ourselves a little bit of time. So we'll just grab him, pop him over here, pop him down there, and then we go here, we'll run into him, and then bam, player dead. Perfect. Actually, while we're here, we'll just duplicate that checkpoint and drag it over here so that the player has somewhere to respawn to. And because we're going to be messing with this enemy for a little bit, we'll just grab the player and start him here so that every time he starts over there. Okay, so now we've got the basics of our enemy here. He works, he kills the player, but we need him moving. We don't want him just standing around doing nothing. So we'll go to our scripts, we'll create C# script We call this one enemy patrol. And we'll open that up in MonoDevelop. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to start with, we want to make a move, we want to keep it nice and basic. So we'll just give him a move speed that will determine how fast he moves, and we'll need something to determine whether he's moving left or right. So what we'll do is we go public float move speed, and we'll go public bool move right. So that'll determine whether he's moving left or right. So basically in our update loop here, all we'll do is if move right, then rigid body 2D dot velocity is equal to new vector 2. So then what we'll do is we'll take that move speed. So if he's moving right, so we want the move speed to be positive. So we'll go move speed for the x value and rigid body to, no, not a capital R, small r, rigid body 2D dot velocity dot y, because we're not making any changes to that. We want that to be the same. And we'll actually just wrap this in some curly brackets as well, if we can. Oop, hit enter there. So if move right, that's fine, and otherwise if move right is false, we'll open another couple of curly brackets and say rigid body to, we'll just copy this whole line here because it's going to be almost the exact same. Copy all that, and instead of move speed we'll have minus move speed. So if he's not moving right, aka if he's moving left, then we want the move